It's a Friday, and we're talking football non-stop. All football, all the time. This is another edition of Football Friday with JJ and Alex, presented by G2G Bars on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Welcome back, everybody. It is a special edition of our Football Fridays here. We are in Provo at the Cafe Rio, which is where BYU, of course, is going to be taking on Oklahoma State tonight. A nice Friday matchup on a College Football Friday. Very excited about that, but we shift gears on a special Friday, JJ. This is really awesome here for us because every Friday throughout the hockey season, Coach Bear Tourigny is going to join us every week to break it down. Andre Tourigny, head coach of the Utah Hockey Club, joining us right now. Coach, long trip for you guys. Welcome to the show, man.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it. That was a good trip, though. We had a good stretch, I think, with winning the first two, and it was a good game in Jersey. But fortunately, we didn't win that one. But we got a big point in Anaheim, so it's 5 point out of 8. It's pretty good.
Yeah, Coach, you get 5 points out of 8 on that trip. You'll take that any day. What did you learn about your team on that road trip? Right out of the gate, you guys go on a long roadie. What did you guys learn? What did you accomplish?
Yeah, at this time of the year, you get much better every game. You need to improve every game. We have a lot of stuff we want to be better. Every team is the same. But I think I like to push back in our team. If you look, we have a few games where we came back from behind in those games, like we did in Anaheim. We were down after 2. We came back, took the lead. They scored at the end of the game, but still, I think we showed a lot of character. We had an injury during the trip, and the guys, they doubled down the next game, and they battled really hard. So we showed a lot of character, I think, during that trip.
It was really fun for us to watch, to see this whole thing kind of going down and watching it on TV. It's like every game is just so fun and new. It's the front end of the season. Somebody was telling me, they were like, well, no, there's, scoring's up right now. And I thought, well, is that a function of it being kind of at the beginning of the year? Do you see that more often, that defenses take a minute to get going kind of across the league? This is a lot. There's been a lot of high-scoring games. Yeah. You guys are putting the puck in the back of the net a lot. And these games are close. These 5-4 games in overtime, you're giving me a heart attack.
Yeah. Well, it's a good thing, I guess, early on, as long as we're in the right side of it. But I think you said it, and you're bang on. I think early on during the season, offense has a little bit of edge. The PK are not as the defensive play is not as stingy as it will be later on during the season. So we need to take advantage of it offensively, but we need to get better every day defensively. We need to become even more stingy. I think right now the play in our zone, it's pretty good. Without the puck, we're doing a good job in our zone. We need to be a little bit better with the puck in our zone, and we need to be better in transition against the rush against. That is where we need to improve defensively.
Early season road trips are a great time for teams to bond. Did you see many of those opportunities while you were gone? And how do you think this team came closer together through that experience?
Yeah, I think we have a really close group. I think there's something about our group. I think they like to spend time together, and they have a lot of fun. You can see the chemistry already there. So on that side, I think it's good to be we're in New York for a few days, so the guys had time to spend good time together, go eat together. We had a team meal as well on the road, so I think that was a good opportunity, and I think the guys did good on it.
What was that win like in Madison Square Garden for these young kids particularly? I just can't imagine. I mean, New York is fun because there's but like in terms of going to a place, in terms of going to like a hockey, historic barn with that Utah across the sweater, I was getting chills that whole time. When they came back and got the win, I would imagine that they had a lot of fun being able to celebrate that one there in New York City.
Yeah. Absolutely. I think that was a great one, and especially we came back from behind during that game. So I think that's and the Rangers are a really good team. They're an elite team in our league. So game opener, MSG on a Saturday night. Tough to ask for better than that when you're on the road. So I think that was good for us to our young team to go through all those emotion. And we talk about emotion. 4 of our 5 games so far have been a home opener. Obviously, ours but 3 times out of 4 on the road. So I think we've been served in terms of emotion in our game.
You guys are off to a great start, but you're also experiencing adversity at the same time. The loss of Sean Dursey is a big one.
Yep.
It sounds like he's going to be out for a couple, 3-4 months or so. Do you expect him back, and how do you fill that void that Sean Dursey leaves in your lineup?
He will be back, but like you said, it will take a little while. But I think at that point you cannot replace him. You need to have everybody play their style, just a little bit longer, a little bit simpler, a little bit more consistent. That's what it is. You know, there's a reason why Sean Dursey. He's a talented player. It's the same thing for a lot of those talented players. You cannot take their spot, but at the same time, everybody is in that league. They're professional. They're here for a reason, and they have to do what they do well, just a little bit longer, with a little bit more consistency, and that's how you squeeze a little bit more than from everybody.
The defense taking a hit with those injuries, of course, and that's one of those areas that takes a minute maybe to gel a little bit as a team. But I didn't hear whether or not Bortuzzo is going to be out for an extended time. And what's the status of John Marino too? That's a guy we were expecting to see a little bit out of him, but we knew he wasn't going to be playing right now. What's his status?
Yeah. He has follow-up with the doc, but he had a treatment last week. The treatment doesn't show a lot of improvement, so the decision time in this case. So we should have news in the next couple of days, so to know exactly what would be the extent of his absence. But he's out for. We'll see. I'm no doctor, but he's out for a little while still. So we'll figure that out soon.
When the injury occurred to John Marino?
During the summer, during his training during the summer.
Gotcha. Okay.
So, as you look forward now, and that game in Anaheim was, you guys had those quick scores that went your way in the previous 2 overtimes, and you can see how quickly those scores. I mean, that's something for me. I've been loving watching is how quickly that puck can turn and go up the ice and get put in the net. It's phenomenal to me to watch these pros be able to do it. So now you come home for three games in a row. That must be nice to be able to come back and come home. And to be doing it against such a historic team tomorrow, too. I'm telling you, the people of Utah are going to be going nuts at Delta Center.
Yeah, that's great. That's good to be back home in front of our fans, to have that energy. I think that will be special. And like you said, 3 games in the same week at home. I think it's good to be back home and to have a chance to play in front of our fans.
You know, Coach, you got to understand how exciting it is for us to have an original 6 team. The Blackhawks opened up. Now the Bruins are coming to Salt Lake City.
Yeah.
I know this for you. This is business as usual. You can understand for us, this is like, oh my gosh, the Bruins are in town, and this exciting Utah Hockey Club is going to take them on. It would be incredible to see you guys get a win. I mean, you understand the excitement that we have about this.
Oh yeah, I understand, and the Bruins are a really good team. You know, they're maybe the best culture in the league if you look at their consistency and how they do their business and the leadership they have in their organization for years. You know, even with guys like Chara and Bergeron, who's retired now, they just the next guy up, and they keep performing. So credit to them, a ton of respect for them. So we'll be up for the challenge tomorrow.
Another thing the fans are excited about is Dylan Guenther. Obviously had a special night in the season opener, and that just continued. He's the NHL's first star for the week, ending October 13th for his performances. What has Dylan done to take the next step, Coach, and what is the next step beyond this? How much potential does he have down the road?
You know what I like about Gunnar is he does a lot of good thing on the ice. Everybody talk about his shooting ability. Yes, he can shoot, no doubt about it, but he's way more than that as a player. Even if he was not shooting, he will be a good player. He can pass the puck, and he's playing really well defensively. He plays with pace. He moves his feet. He has a great read for the game, offensively and defensively. So he's a guy who he's just starting. He's just starting to get stronger, to get faster. So the ceiling is still high, still up there for him.
Bear Tourigny, Andre Tourigny, head coach of the Utah Hockey Club, joining us every Friday right here on the KSL Sports Zone on JJ and Alex. Coach, good luck against the Bruins tomorrow night. We're looking forward to that this 3-game homestand, and we're we're so freaking thrilled to have hockey here in the state of Utah at the NHL level. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you, guys. Have a good football game tonight.
There you go.
Thanks, Coach.
Love.
I'm sure Coach will be watching BYU Oklahoma State.
You better. Got to get to look. If you're gonna dive in the culture, got to do it, JJ.
100%.
Hey,
Everybody loves football.
I know you goaded him to say Bruins. He did it though.
You know what that means?
Calling number 12. Get it going. Let's jump on.
We got tickets. We
Let's
want to
do
give
it.
them to you.
Let's go. All right. I hope somebody – Jeremy, did we give those away, or do we need me to say Bruins 12 more times? Okay.
I'm working on it.
801-575-ZONE. We're giving away a pair of tickets. You know what, JJ, I told you this during the break. I think this might be a weekend where because we don't have a Saturday night football game.
We don't?
I don't have a Saturday night football game that I have to do. Wait, do I?
You get a Saturday off? No way.
Well, to me, tonight's BYU football. Then my pre- and post game I got to do for that. But tomorrow,
You're a degenerate, though. You're a sports degenerate.
I am I have a problem.
You're definitely watching Utah TCU.
Oh, no, I'm going to watch it. I'm just saying I have an opportunity to go see the Bruins and.
Oh, you're going to the hockey
I'm saying,
game.
do
Why
you
would
think
you
I
even set it up like that? Why don't you just say it, man? No.
should I get some? Should I get some?
I'm upset.
I'm gonna get the. I'll dust off the debit card. And I'll say, kids, this is the one time we get to go to the hockey game, okay?
It is awesome that you're going to break the bank and you're going to take your kids. They got $3 ice cream.
That's what I'm
They
saying.
got $3 hot dogs.
Don't forget the $2 water bottle.
There's no Cougar tails up there.
Don't pay $2.
There aren't. I will tell you right now, though, I'm not above getting 2 hot dogs for myself, okay? And go. Because what they say it was, $3 hot dogs?
$3 hot dogs.
$6 for 2 dogs?
They got the Far's ice cream.
Right,
$3.
when's the last time you got 2 hot dogs at a baseball game for less than $48?
No chance.
You know what I'm saying?
You pay like $50 for a Dodger
No,
dog.
no, that's what I'm saying. Major League Baseball screws it up with the concessions.
That's why tailgating is so
I know.
important. I just get on my fix outside.
So, all right. Gosh, we're talking about hockey. And I know he's being cagey about the Marino injury. Bortuzzo, I think he's going to be back pretty quick. But, like, not even saying, like, what the nature is. Like, go back to the – he's going to go to the doctor and
Doesn't look good, though. Doesn't sound good.
he'll go back. Hasn't had any improvement.
Since the summer. Dang.
With the nature of that injury. And we're like, what injury is it? So I think because he falls in that category of he wasn't with the team at the beginning of the year,
Right.
they don't have to say much about like his status for this next game or anything like that.
Right.
I'm not sure what the rules are with that, but yeah,
And he could use them right now. It's the only thing you're looking at this team. It's like they're off to this hot start and they're scoring goals and their offense is electric. And you're like, they gotta get some stops when they need to. And it hurt them in the Anaheim game. They let that go.
Every one of the guys that's going down
They
so
went
far
up
is
4-3.
defensemen.
I'm like, they're gonna win this game, and then it slipped out of their fingers. So hopefully they can get some health back there. I know they added some guys, pulled a guy out from Tucson.
Did you say pull a guy out?
I pulled a
Pull
guy
a guy out.
No,
Canadian?
Going full Canadian on you there.
I'm totally gonna do that.
I know. I'm
5 years from now, you're not getting. It's gonna sound like I'm from Calgary.
No, I know. Saskatchewan. I'm telling you though,
Regina.
the you knew it was going to be a time.
Saskatchewan.
So here's the thing that I'm impressed by with this team so far. It's early, right? I mean, Denver's not going to be 0-4, and something burning.
I'm smelling something's on
Is our
fire.
equipment going to burn?
It's not me. I promise.
Just double checking.
I didn't
Okay?
do anything. I promise.
Sorry, everyone
Oh,
listening.
you know
Just
what?
Had to take a break.
You know what that is?
They turned the heater on.
They
for the first
turned
time.
the furnace. No, they turned the furnace
the heater on here.
They
at
did it.
Cafe Rio.
They did it. This was me this morning.
That's the first year.
Yes,
the
it's
first
the
of the year when you
first
fire
smell.
up the heater and it's like, oh wow,
I had it this morning.
it smells like
I
crayons are burning.
I know.
in
I
there.
turned it on, and I was like, I turned on the heat this morning. I was like, I guess I'll do it. And I turned it on because it was 64 in my house. Now I run hot.
Yeah.
And 64 is perfect for me, but I have small children who are like, "Can I get some more heat, Daddy?" You know, like,
What's wrong with my
my
porridge?
gosh, I guess fine. So yeah,
better go get
that
the
was the
heated
smell.
blanket, kid.
JJ looked around and he
I'm
was
sorry.
wondering-
I was like starting to become concerned because I could smell
I was
it.
concerned. I thought maybe our equipment was on fire.
It smells
it's
like
good.
we set 50 Crayolas on fire.
Yeah, it's good. No. Now I know
All right,
what's
we're
going
good.
on. Now
Back
it's
to
good.
football.
Now it's warming up in here. All right. No, back to hockey real quick before we get out to because we are going to get back to our Football Fridays, but the homestand goes like this: Bruins tomorrow night, and then I think Tuesday
Senators are here.
Ottawa comes to town, and then Colorado next week. That's the first time we get to see.
Have they won yet?
No, they have not. They are 0-4. Still 0-4. They have a game tonight. So we'll see. We'll see if they can stay unbeaten and that we can continue to accommodate the Avs on the struggle bus that they currently find themselves on.
Yeah, then they're to L.A. on Saturday against the Kings.
Okay.
There you go.
So it's a long trip. So that's four
your
games
UHC
there.
week.
But 3 of them are going to be at home, and then you get the one down in L.A. Again, go down to the Kings, go down to Staples. They play at Staples, don't they?
It's
Or are they
back to
playing at
Staples, not Crypto no more.
Okay.
They went back to Staples?
I think they went back to Staples.
Yeah, they did. And my question is, they're not doing Intuit. They're not playing the Intuit Dome. They're
No,
not Steve
that's
Ballmer's place.
Ballmer's home.
Okay.
Oh, I
Yeah,
can't wait to see that.
I know.
That's going to be incredible.
It's going to be amazing. So, I don't know. I'm learning as I go along here, though. And 3-2, and stealing 5 points on that road trip, 7 overall right now, which is good enough for second of their division. I mean, we know how this thing works. These teams can get streaky. This team lost 14 games in a row last year at one point. You obviously don't anticipate something like that happening, but hockey can be very mysterious when it comes to why things aren't bouncing your way, why these injuries can be nagging for so long, and why one guy on defense – I mean, the reality was Bortuzzo goes out. You already have Dursey out. And guess what the biggest problem was the other night? It was at the blue line. Frankly, the whole season so far, you haven't felt like those defensive lines so far have been figured out.
Well,
like
that was the question. That was the concern coming into the season.
But
That's why they went out and got Sergachev.
But all we were told was, it's figured out. Like, look at all these vets coming in here, including Marino, who we haven't even seen on the ice yet, and it sounds like he's not going to be on the ice for a minute. So
yeah.
I don't know. If I was going to be grumpy about something, it's the fact that the defense is not shored up very well. But I love to see how much they are scoring. I love to see that they are flying around, too.
There's not a lot to be grumpy about because this team set themselves up really well by having a great road trip because, like you said, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the next 6 are at home. They can rack up some points right now early in the season that could give them a little bit of cushion as they make that playoff chase. Because there's going to be times during the season where they're going to have some ups and downs,
sure.
right?
Yeah.
But they have a chance right now. And that road game's at the Kings. I mean, the Kings are okay. The Kings are probably that team that they need to beat out for a playoff spot. They'll be contending probably for a wild card spot, and they'll have to beat out. But you're looking at the schedule, and right now, you're playing the Bruins, who are tough, but Senators very winnable on Tuesday. I'm not sure what's going on with the Avs right now. The Kings on the road, that's not a tough roadie. The Sharks are here Monday. You got to beat the Sharks. So, and then the Flames end up that run next Wednesday, October 30th. There's a run of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games where you should probably get a lot of points in that run. This is going to be a fun time to see how this team performs in a very favorable schedule.
Colorado plays Anaheim tonight. Anaheim's 2-1, so maybe that loss against the Ducks at their place wasn't as bad as we maybe had thought.
They get a uniform change and see what happens.
Let's go. Hey, listen, I want us to look like traffic cones. I want us to look like traffic cones. What
do we
can you
like
do
the
for
Ducks
me?
uniforms?
They're orange.
How do we feel about it?
It's fine. Look, it's a classic look. I like the duck mask.
The logo is great.
Phenomenal. They're phenomenal. They did this thing the other day where they asked a bunch of Utahns to identify hockey logos on teams, and we did not do well. I was disappointed in us. Now, I think it's unfair because I think there are a lot of NBA logos that are minimalist enough that you're looking at it and you might not necessarily know what they are. And they were like,
we should do that. I feel like we should do that in here.
Do a quiz to some of these BYU fans to see what some of these logos are. Yeah, there's some of the. But the problem is that it's such a visual thing, though. Too, you need to have the visual up because you have the logo up, and everyone's screaming from their car. That's what you want. That's why half of it's funny is when they're showing it, they're flashing it up on the screen. Everybody's going the Montreal Canadiens, and the lady because it's that C with the H, right? And the Montreal Canadiens, and the girl goes, the champions? And he goes, and the guy goes, you got it. Like he kept saying, whatever they said, he said they got it right. And they're like, oh, that's good.
Remember when I think it was the Tennessee Titans did that video? They went down to downtown Nashville and they asked fans to try to identify who the teams were. They weren't fans; they had no idea.
Sure, they're just people like walking around,
probably tourists there in Nashville. And they couldn't, and they played all their answers they got wrong, and they made new logos out of them. It was hilarious.
Well, the lady, they saw the Sharks one. She goes, well, Sharks, obviously. He goes, oh, yeah, but where are they from? She goes, oh, Canadian. So probably Saskatoon, the Saskatoon Sharks.
Saskatoon Sharks.
And the guy's like, yeah, you got it. You got it. All right.
Here's a cookie.
Here's a cookie for you.
I can't think of two different places than San Jose and Saskatoon, Saskatchewan.
Yeah, and by the way, so I think we're giving away tickets every Friday, too. I think this is kind of what the norm is going to be.
Oh, I got to be eligible for one of these.
Ineligible. You can't even pretend like you. See, here's the thing. People are listening, and they're going, I guess Sly's going to win it this week. You can't even give the vibe like you're doing it. You can't steal those tickets.
I need
There's
to find out who the winner is.
You can maybe just tag along.
Become friends.
See if I can get it. Jeremy, did we give them away? Are we good? Okay. Whew. I did have somebody text me and said they were only caller number 9, so got to get right back on it. 9 is if you hit redial, you hang up and redial, you're way too late.
I'm telling you, me and Matt Martinez.
I know.
Sitting in
what you do in college to try to get the free stuff, man. And now that we say that, like this parking lot was the site of a lot of cheap dates because JJ, you know this. The old Dollar Theater used to be at the end of this parking lot.
I'm old enough to remember.
I don't know this area.
No, you do not.
The Dollar Theater.
But now where all these like high-end apartments are, which, by the way, I was told that there are actually some BYU athletes that live in some of these. I think they might have a deal.
We won't mention names, but there was a pretty notorious BYU football player fight over here at the Dollar Theater.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
We're not naming names?
No, I was like, we got to name names. Is it not that?
I was like, I need to know this info.
If it's Derek Stevenson, blink at me. No, I'm just kidding. No, he had his. I saw Derek Stevenson at a game the other day, and he said he likes listening to us.
He didn't fight anybody.
He didn't punch me.
Good.
And I thought that was nice of him.
Derek's great.
Derek is phenomenal.
Derek, if you're listening, appreciate you.
By the way,
he didn't punch me.
He was at the game with the '96 throwback stuff.
Of course.
And of course, also very Derek Stevenson tied the jersey they gave him or the sweatshirt or whatever around the waist and was wearing like some bright green, Hard Rock T-shirt. And I was like, that's how you spot Derek Stevenson and stuff. He's like, and I think his wife goes, "Oh, you think he's going to conform and put a uniform on?" Yeah, right. And I was like, I love this interaction. And you know what he said? He goes, Jay Hill. It was a Kansas State game. And he goes, Jay Hill's going to take this thing over in the second half, and he did, and he freaking did.
Got it right.
That's when they took over. All right, we'll jump out here to an early break, and let me see here. I know we got to talk to Tom in just a few minutes here. Our program is brought to you, of course, every week by the folks at the Doug Smith family of dealerships in American Fork and Spanish Fork. Kia, Subaru, Chevy, Jeep, Dodge, or Ram. You can get all of it. The folks at Doug Smith want to accommodate. They want to help you out. Go check it out. The selections are massive, and you can take advantage. Doug Smith dealerships in American Fork and Spanish Fork. And, of course, as always, our program is also brought to you by the folks at the G2G Bars. G2G Bars, awesome protein source. Go check it out in the refrigerated section at the Costco, Holiday Oil, Maverick, Associated Foods, etc. You can take advantage right there. You can order them online at Costco. That's the best way to do it. But find them in the refrigerated section. So there you go. Coming up in just a little while, we've got a ton more to jump into. We took that little right turn with hockey, which we're happy to do, with Bear Tourigny joining us on Fridays throughout the hockey season. Oklahoma State and BYU. What do you want to see this week to make you feel like BYU improved? Not just squeaking out a win against Oklahoma State, but what's the next version of BYU getting better as a team? We'll talk about all those and much, much more as we get you ready for this thing. I don't know. In my mind, I want you.
I've got one ready to go.
You've got one ready to go? Sly, have you been thinking about things you want to see BYU do better during this next week?
He dreams about it.
Hey, you're supposed to, right?
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah.
Okay, he's going to do it.
Sly's a professional. He's objective.
I am.
He's
I'm a realist. I'm a realist.
He's a realist.
I'll give him credit when they need it.
All right.
When they get it.
Let's do this. We're going to jump out to the phone lines. Tom Curl from the warehouse normally joins us. We're going to take a quick break. We'll come back and we'll chat with Tom in just a few moments. That's at the warehouse, 1825 South, 300 West in Salt Lake City. We'll come right back, right around the corner. Stay with us, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
It's a Friday, and we're talking football non-stop. All football, all the time. This is another edition of Football Friday with JJ and Alex, presented by G2G Bars on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All right, everybody, welcome back. JJ and Alex, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone. Happy Football Friday to you, everybody. Hope you, if you missed any portion of our conversation with Bear Tourigny, by the way, even though it's Football Friday, our weekly conversation now with the coach. Awesome to have him on. He gives us some good insights. We tried to dig a little bit on that John Marino injury, and it's just pretty vague, and it's going to be a minute till he plays.
Clearly doesn't have a lot of info on that.
Yeah.
So there you go.
That's okay. I'm glad that they're nice enough to try to answer it as much as they can at the level that they can. So, all right, so BYU versus Oklahoma State. We're down here in Provo. Stevenson Sylvester joins JJ and I. And one thing that we talked about last week, and this is something we've been going back and forth with, was whatever whatever Jake Retzlaff does or doesn't do, more importantly, if he turns the ball over, teams get back into it. You know, when he turned those balls over in the second half against Baylor, that was the last time that a team started to really kind of turn a corner and start to figure out BYU a little bit. When he took care of the football against Kansas State, when he took care of the football this last time out against Oklahoma State, it was absolutely key for BYU to be able to have that success. And they're also not asking him to throw it a ton either. And when this is the part about Jay Hill's defense getting 14 turnovers so far this year is they've done it so many times inside their opponent's 20-yard line that A-Rod goes, oh, thank you very much. I'll do 1 or 2 plays and we'll get in the end zone, get the offense back off the field. And that's the type of efficiency that they're asking Jake Retzlaff to have. Throw for 210 yards. Give me 2 touchdowns. Give me 0 picks, right? That's kind of – they're just asking him to be efficient. They're not asking him to blow the doors off of this thing. Jake Retzlaff this week, he talked a little bit about that, talked a little bit about a couple things with the media in regard to how they've been performing. But he started talking about Oklahoma State, and it's interesting because all week the coaches and the players who were part of that loss last year in overtime against Oklahoma State, they talk a lot about that game in particular and kind of what it did for him. He started talking about how good Oklahoma State he knows they can be.
Really talented team at every level, at every position. They got some guys who fly around and make plays. And so this is a game where we know we're going to get all of what they got. And at the same time, this is a game where we remember late November. We remember that. So we're coming out ready this week because we know we own one. I don't know. Oklahoma State is still a really good team, and they can still do some really good things. And I know we're a really good team. I don't know if this is going to be that's a funny way to put it. I haven't thought of it like that, but maybe it is. I don't know. But this is a lot different team, and I think the Oklahoma State team is playing a lot different too this year. So it's hard to compare year to year because guys are in and out and stuff like that. But, you know, we know we got to be ready for this week because this is a team that's got a lot of talent, and Gundy's got, I know, a great record coming off a bye week. You know, you got to be accelerated. Every day in the week is moved up, basically starting on Monday. Monday practice, we usually have a quick walkthrough. Instead, yesterday it was a practice, and then today is a long practice. And so, yeah, you just got to be ready. A little more film work early in the week than usual. Kind of dove into it Sunday, Monday more, and then it's Tuesday, but it's really Wednesday for us.
Jay, kind of a off-the-field question, but what is it about your upbringing or just that prepared you to kind of become like the voice that you have become for BYU football and the face of BYU football in a way?
That's a good question. I don't know. Just being confident in myself is the number one thing. Being confident going out there and just giving the credit out to everybody else. Because I said this in the post game, but like too much credit is given to the quarterback because it is all the guys around me that makes everything happen. So just knowing that, being conscious of that is something that I was taught early, and realizing it true for it to also be true. Like it's one thing to say, it's another thing to believe it. And so that's something I believe. And so, you know, when it comes to leading stuff, I know you got to lead from the front and do the tough and hard things when you got to. I know that's kind of where I start because I'm always going to get in the grind, and then leading with positivity and giving the credit where credit's due.
We talked some of your predecessors like Tanner Mangum and Max Hall just used to talk about what the mantle is of being the starting BYU quarterback, like around town, in class. Have you kind of noticed that, maybe the attention you get or anything like that?
Yeah, I think this last week was kind of the most evidence of that with all the specials that came in town with CBS and ESPN Game Day and that stuff. And so that plus, you know, you'll walk in the hallway and students will be yelling at you, great game or good luck this weekend. And so that's a cool deal. I just embracing it and going with the flow and stuff like that. But, yeah, I mean, you definitely feel it on campus. I'll be walking with a bunch of my teammates and you'll still get people calling my name out, saying good job or saying good luck. It's a pretty cool deal.
I did want to ask about, you know, being able to highlight your faith, playing on Yom Kippur, and all, you know, what that was like for you last Saturday with all of those things.
It was really special. It was really fun. It was a great afternoon. That's the best way. I mean, I can't put into words the feelings on the field, especially post game. I was talking to Greg Wrubell on the post game show, and he just highlighted that for me, and it was special. Definitely a special day.
Jake Retzlaff riding high. What's the next version of his development? What do you want to see out of him that, like, you go, all right, that's a guy who's not just somebody who they're asking to kind of just hold serve back there in the pocket. He's being really efficient, but he's also, you know, he hasn't shown that he's not prone to mistakes. He can make those mistakes still. Right. Bad Jake and good Jake, we've talked about that a little bit.
That's it. I think accuracy. I think there's just too many of those throws they're just not quite on target.
Right.
it's every BYU fan listening right now knows exactly what I'm talking about. The Jake Retzlaff experiences. He makes that incredible throw, and you're like, oh my gosh, this guy can do it, man. This guy can sling it. And then the next throw he makes, you're like, well, where is that going? You know what I mean? Even if the receiver's able to get it, it's not quite where it needs to be. That's all. He just needs to be more accurate with throwing the football. And I think he's come a long way in how he's protecting the football. And I think he's really taken a lot of focus on that because he had to keep this job. I think that was very clear. Like, Jake is going to be the guy as long as he doesn't give it up more than he scores. So far this season, he's scored more than he's given it up.
Right.
And I think he's done a great job of that, and that's why they're 6-0. The next step is to become more accurate with the football, and at that point, then your offense becomes a lot more efficient. Instead of, I should have his stats up in front of me. I don't know what his completion percentage is right now, but you get that up even 3 to 5% more. All of a sudden, BYU's offense becomes really, really difficult to defend.
What have you seen in Jake Retzlaff? It's not like he's lighting the world on fire with numbers, but at the same time, he has a little bit of shake to him to make guys have to. They have planned 6 or 7 quarterback runs a game. It seems like with him, they're not afraid to have that quarterback draw. They're not afraid to naked boot him. They're not afraid to give him that ability to be able to pull that football on that read option, which he's done many times. But he's also not just like a guy who they look at and they're not putting him up on the poster as the guy yet. I don't think, right? Even though he's kind of getting to that point. If he goes 7-0 and he has a performance tonight that you could have against an Oklahoma State team, I don't know. I want to know what the next version of good Jake Retzlaff looks like.
So for me, I would have to echo what JJ said. Consistent accuracy, right? But also, BYU fans can't get greedy, right? This is exactly what Kalani wanted. Take care of the football. We have an outstanding defense, and we play complementary football, and we look solid. We look strong. Don't get out of it. So, like, if I get greedy and I want Jake Retzlaff to do more, that's where the problems come in, and that's where the criticism comes in. That's where you saw the turnovers from last season come in. Just do what you got to do. So it's kind of hard. It's like, do you want him to be more? Do you want him to be more Aaron Rodgers and have more control at the line of scrimmage and set audibles and do all of that? Or do you want him just to run the offense, take care of the football, get the ball in the hands of the playmakers, understand what you're doing? Like, what do you really want out of this? Because you got to understand what comes with, asking for more. Right, it's more potential issues. The risk goes higher, and that's what happens with some of these higher quarterbacks. And so, you kind of just got to ask yourself, what are you looking for? What are you looking for with all of that? And I would have to do that. I think he's done a terrific job this year. The guy can throw the ball.
Yeah,
right. He has some zip. I do feel you guys with that inconsistency on passes, but he has talented guys around him, from Roberts to Lassiter to Epps to all these guys around him to get him the football. For me, I would say just continue to on. As you develop, as you get more confident in it, just make consistency on the accuracy part, and honestly, that will get you to the Big 12
Real quick, I've got the numbers I wanted to pull up and show you. So his completion percentage, 60%. That's good. You
terrible.
Get to 65, Sly.
Right.
You know what I'm talking about. You get to that 65, almost 70 range, and then you become elite. QBR. Kyle Whittingham's a coach that talks about QBR a lot. Where does he rank in QBR in the country? Right basically in the middle of the pack. He's 49th in the country in QBR. So that shows you
terrible.
There's room for him for
to
improvement,
improve,
right?
For sure.
I mean, to put it in that perspective, Utah, Isaac Wilson's the only one who qualifies for Utah. Cam Rising's on the list. Isaac Wilson is 100th. So Jake's doing a really good job, but you see the room for improvement is there, and if they get that improvement, that offense is really going to take off. Maybe it's an extra touchdown per game. Maybe it's some more yardage for some of these guys. Whatever it might be, there's that room for improvement that is certainly there to answer your question.
Kalani sort of scoffed at the idea that that doing the running back by committee thing is not what you should be doing, right? Everybody's kind of like, hey, give me the guy, give me a person. He goes, I actually like all 5 dudes running the ball right now. And obviously, if L.J. Martin is healthy, and so is Hinckley Rapati, my thing is like, I think L.J. Martin could be the guy.
Slump?
He could be. Well, I mean, he was injured for a stretch of 3 or 4 games.
Yeah, he missed. He got.
I mean,
shaken
I've
up
seen that.
in
But
so they're waiting.
SMU game,
right?
So he missed 3 games.
But they're waiting, and I think they want him to turn a corner. It was like, why don't you give him the ball a few more times then? If
he was banged up in the summer too.
Right. He didn't. He wasn't there
so
a ton for camp, and then he got hurt in the SMU game.
Right.
But then he had a pretty darn good game last time out, but only had 9 carries. And so,
But that's when you're putting it on it. The defense, that defense lost Jacob Manu very early in the game to a targeting call. They were discombobulated a lot, and that's when you see blood in the water. You got to attack, and that's exactly what Roderick did in this game. It called for passing. So yeah, he only had 9 carries, but that's what this team needed, at that much. So I'm just like, again, we could be nitpicky, but can you be greedy in this situation with Retzloff and even L.J. Martin?
And we talk about what does BYU need to do to get better? What's you're 6-0, you're excited,
Right.
It's great, but what do they need to do better, or what needs to happen for them to take it to another level so they can stay on track to reach the Big 12 championship game? I do feel like they do need to go 2 back.
Yes.
There's going to be a game.
For sure.
Maybe it's probably, and I think we know what game it is. It's probably Utah, where you're on the road at Rice-Eccles Stadium, and you need a dude who's going to go out there and get you some tough yards consistently. And Sly, these guys need to get in a rhythm. So why is Mekhi Bernard blowing up this year? Why is all of a sudden he taking the next step? Because he's getting 20 to 25 per game, and that's helping him get there.
And they're trying to say no. Look, I'm like, no, give him the ball. He wants it.
And I made this point yesterday, and so Kalani's right in a sense that BYU rushed for 147 yards last game. Mekhi Bernard had a 120-yard game against Arizona State, but guess which team had more rushing yards? It was BYU. So I get what he's saying with the running back by committee works, because ultimately you get that number that you're looking for, but that's not going to work every week. And if you don't have a guy you trust to go out there and carry the ball 20 to 25 in a rainstorm, or when the weather gets colder, or you're playing a more physical offense, you need to go out there and play a little bit of bully ball, then you got to have a guy that can go get those carries. And right now we don't know who that guy is. We don't know what that kind of production looks like when they're playing defenses that are a little more stout up front.
Let's take another break here. We told you we wanted to bring you Tom Curl, and we're going to do it right now. Tom Curl, owner of the Warehouse, 1825 South 300 West.
It's a Friday, and we're talking football non-stop. All football, all the time. This is another edition of Football Friday with JJ and Alex, presented by G2G Bars on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Welcome back. It is JJ and Alex, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Alex Curie, Jeremiah Jensen, Steve Sylvester with us, of course, on a Football Friday. Normally, Riley Nelson would be here with us. I thought this would be his perfect place, right?
Come on, guy.
Sly made the drive down with all the Utah gear on. You couldn't show up in Provo, your old alma mater. Let's go.
Hey, Riley,
everybody's going to know who this is. There's been like 3 people who's already like, Sly, what are you doing down here? I don't know. I know. He's like, I feel out of place, but I think you. But you know what? They're nice to you.
You've had
They've
a
been
lot
nice.
of people come up here and say,
they've been nice.
I'm the man of the people, you know.
Oh, sure,
even some BYU people.
Sure.
So you need to have the same approach, Sly, as Michael Jordan had with selling shoes. Is everybody needs shoes. So
hey, everybody's a potential customer.
Everybody needs football analysis, and you provide.
So the reason I bring up Riley is not to throw him under the bus totally.
Just throw him under.
Well, he's up there. He's actually almost the entire coaching staff that's up there at New Mexico who's in town this week. He's he set up a hangout with Bronco and some of his former coaches and teammates. So that is a staff that's pretty stacked with a lot of BYU ties and a lot of people that have played up there.
I was in Vegas this summer, and Jan Jorgensen ran up to me. We had a conversation. I'm like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "I'm recruiting."
Yeah, man.
And he's there for New Mexico. He's working with Bronco, man.
I love it.
Yeah,
no, and you know what? Like, Bronco surrounds them with the people that are. It's a circle of trust, like 1,000%.
For sure.
It is a tight knit brotherhood, and Riley's in that group of. Because there are a lot of things you can say about Bronco and some eye rolls, especially people who covered
good
him
years down at BYU, man.
The guy won 99 games in 11 years. 99. That's
crazy.
That's almost 10. That's almost 10 a season.
Multiple conference championships.
And so you can say what you will, and we do, because it's like, man, he wasn't the greatest interview. Like, he was a hard dude to be around, and I was around him a lot, and I don't think he knew my name after even 4 years.
I hosted his coach's show. He still doesn't know who I am.
No, I would interview him on a weekly thing down in Provo. We do for our pregame stuff, and then I would see him in public, and I wouldn't want to harass him, but he definitely was like, "Oh, I can't remember this guy's name." Like, now
Alex,
listen,
remember?
No, he'd walk up to you and go, "Sly, is that you?" Yeah, but not me.
No, he did. I was in Pittsburgh practicing. He brought his coaching staff up there.
I'm telling
when he was
you.
at Virginia. He came up to me. I was like, "Oh, you remember me?"
Yeah, he does. But Bronco and the Lobos are in town. Look, year one for Bronco has been a rough one, been a rough go for him, and it would be. I think they knew what they were inheriting, right?
It's New Mexico.
Yes.
Like, that's almost impossible.
To recruit to? Oh, for sure.
That's a program that I think a lot of people are talking about. Maybe they should drop down to FCS.
Well, or hey, a Pac-12 invite. You could get either one these days.
Or
you could get either one of those.
Look,
these days.
it's outside of the Rocky Long years where they found ways to win. And Brian Urlacher, obviously, everybody remembers that, but that was a long time ago. Those days are long gone, and that program has not been good for a long time.
You said going down to Albuquerque was never like an easy task, though. I mean, that was never a gimme.
For us, it wasn't. I don't know what the heck was going on. I was just like, we were clearly better. I feel like we had more superior athletes, but for some reason, they played hard. They played just as hard as the academies did. But, like, for some reason, I don't know what it was, whether we played down there in October and it was spooky season or some crap, but something always went on down there. And it was just because when they came up here, no issue. That was nothing.
Right.
But something down there, man, it was just bad aura. I think somebody put some kind of hex on our plane.
You were there towards the end of the Rocky Long
era.
era.
Yeah, it was.
He coached there through 2008.
Because even in 2006, our plane, like, you remember what Utah's plane did in Florida?
Yeah.
Last year, that's exactly what happened to us, man. We were on the plane for like hours, and then they're like, "Oh, let's just go back to the hotel." And I'm just like, "What the heck is going on down here? This is terrible."
New Mexico.
Aliens. It's aliens.
I know it is. Very
Area
close.
51.
New Mexico struggling, and yet they're favored in this game this weekend against the Aggies.
Because
that
the
tells
Aggies
you
are struggling more.
That tells you where Utah State and Nate Dreiling and his guys are. 2-4 New Mexico coming into a 1-5 Utah State team. What needs to happen? Like, what do you think the biggest issue is right now with this team? Is it just at some point just not just the on-the-field losses, but it just feels like everything is piling on top of them?
We thought coming into the season, and it's the same problem last year, they just can't. Their defense can't get stops. But, they've had a tough schedule, too. I mean, let's be honest. Like, they've played Utah. They played USC at the Coliseum. 2 time zone travel to Temple, Ashton Jenny and Boise State, and then UNLV's really good.
Yeah,
UNLV's a really good football team. So I bet you'd be hard pressed to find a team that's in the group of 5 that's had a tougher schedule. So that's the one thing. But the other thing is they're scoring enough points. Their defense can't get stops. But I'll say this about the Aggies: their first half schedule was rough. Their second half schedule, it's not the same.
Okay,
it's a lot lighter. And there's not a team left on the schedule they can't beat. So I expect them to rack up some wins here. Can they get to 6? It's going to be tough. They got to win 5 of 6 games. But I think they could do it. But they don't have a lot of room for error now because of that Temple loss.
Does New Mexico turn things around? Not that we care that much about it, but at the same time, not like honestly, like if there's a guy who can do it and a guy who is like, actually, I kind of want to be anonymous over here doing this stuff.
How much has Virginia won historically?
Yeah, the dude took him to the to the Orange Bowl.
Virginia football program is one of it's like we bag on Vanderbilt. Virginia is the Vanderbilt of the ACC.
Bunch of smart
kids.
Bronco
not only won there, but made them wildly entertaining. Bronco will do the same at New Mexico. It's just going to take some time.
Okay.
Yeah, always that first year, you kind of want to set the stage of like getting your technical things done, your cultural things implemented. Kind of give you a reason, like, you guys see how this is. You want to change this around? We got to do this. You got to give something to coach off of. And so, honestly, you got to commend the guys who come in the first year and have success, because that's just not normally how it's done. But what Bronco's needing to do down there in New Mexico is a complete revamp that, like JJ said, is going to take some time.